folks. I hope you're having a wonderful day. One of our viewers yesterday made a suggestion, and it really got me thinking because we were going through a little bit of a blip in some egg production and thinking of reasons why perhaps that could have been. And one of the possible reasons was a weather flux. And this viewer had suggested that perhaps barometric pressure could have an impact on egg production. And so I don't really have the means or even the desire to necessarily do independent research on the effects of barometric pressure on chickens. But I went to Mr. Google Pants, as you do, just to see, what's floating out there. And actually there has been quite a few tests on barometric pressure on egg production and eggs in incubation and things like that. But the actual effects on live laying chickens doesn't appear to be any research. But when you go on the internet and you stumble down one of the many rabbit holes that are there, sometimes you do find the dark side of the web. So when I say the dark side of the web, what I came across was something called LAPS, or LAPS, low air pressure stunning. And it is touted as a more humane way of killing chickens for butchering, as opposed to the more conventional methods. Now you might ask, what are the more conventional methods? Well, currently right now in commercial egg production, there's two conventional methods. One is they basically gas the chickens or asphyxiate the chickens with nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and you'll see the chickens flop all over the place and gasping for air, and it's just a horrible thing to see. But what is more common is the electric bath, where they catch them, they hang them on a conveyor belt, and they run them through a trough of water that is electrified, stun them before they go through an electric knife that separates the head. It doesn't really necessarily slit their throat, it separates the head from their body. It's called cervical separation. And if you watch it, it's pretty gruesome stuff. So it kind of goes without saying, like, commercially raised broiler chickens have pretty much the shittiest life of any animal raised for food. It is, there's no denying it. They have a miserable life, followed by, we call it humane, but I question that. If you look at it, it doesn't look to be a very good time to me. So this kind of brings in, how do we do it? What are we doing differently? So we raise our chickens 25 at a time in a chicken tractor. What's a chicken tractor? Well, I'll chuck in a picture right here and you can see. Yeah, so it's pretty open air, and they get moved to fresh grass every day, so there's no fecal load where they're living. They get to enjoy sunshine, they get to enjoy bugs, they get to enjoy fresh vegetation, not just meal, ground meal that's forced into them. And they do gain at their own pace. And that was one thing we did notice last year when we raised our pasture poultry, was that we would have at finishing time some chickens that were 4.5 pounds and some chickens that were at 7 pounds. And that's because it's not a force feeding program. It's the chickens, they just do what chickens do. So human beings have this near parasitical need for food, in the sense that we consume but we don't give back, or we consume and we don't produce. And so this is a real challenge with people not growing their own food. It's not like everybody has to have backyard chickens or anything like that, but I think, if I recall, it's something like 12% of the world's, no, it's 100% of the world's food is grown by 12% of the population or something like that. And I might be off a little bit on the number, but it is shocking how few people contribute to contribute to actual like food production. So what you end up with, and we talk about processed food, but we're talking about process-driven food. So we've got all these automated sequences that occur right from the birth, the hatching of the chicken, through to its untimely demise. Because as you know, commercial grade chicken, they're not fully grown. Most of them are not 8 weeks at all. In fact, some of them are only 2 weeks old when they hit your shelf and they get processed. But yeah, it is a very mechanically driven, process-driven thing. And then you wonder why, the end product, we're dealing with so many downstream health issues because the food that we're eating it's not food at all. It's food. If you actually look at what real food is things that have been impacted by sunshine. And there's so much power in sunshine. It's more than just vitamin D. If you go outside and you look at the grass, that is pure sunshine. That's all that is energy converted through photosynthesis into a viable food source. Now, when you keep your potential food source in a box the size of a milk crate for its entire life, heated by an electrically driven light bulb, and it never sees the light of day, is that good? Not so much. So where am I going with this? Well, if you ever have the opportunity to buy chicken from a local farmer that is using a pasture poultry method, whether it's through chicken tractors or they're free range chickens or whatever it is, but they're able to go outside, get some sunlight, enjoy the day, live a chicken life, as chickens naturally do, as opposed to having to live in a box their entire life, you're probably going to pay a little bit more for it because that is the cost, right? It costs more to raise a chicken naturally than it does to keep them in a box with a light bulb on all their life. So don't be scared to pay a little bit more and eat some real food. Anyways, I guess I went on quite a tangent there. I didn't even really tell you what LAPS or low air pressure stunning is. So it is similar to chemical asphyxiation where they inject nitrogen or carbon dioxide in, except for the fact they don't put the gas in. What they actually do is they remove the air. So they put them in a chamber and they place it under a vacuum. And over a period of 5 minutes, they reduce the air pressure until the chickens go to sleep. So the chickens don't flop around and all that, but it's a 5-minute death as opposed to, the kindness you can give them with a sharp knife, and it's just in a fraction of a second, it's just over. And I tell you, we talk about humane killing, and some days humanity is just not. We just don't put a lot of thought into that. So, anyways, that's enough about killing chickens for today. I hope the rest of your day goes very fantastic, and I hope I haven't ruined your chicken dinner tonight. But I will let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.